Now that 50 days have passed since the move was completed, here are 32 questions regarding updates on the move. Number 1. Where are you now living at? Fargo, North Dakota, North Dakota's biggest city. The area is home to over 150,000 residents, or over 20% of the entire state's population. Number 2. What is the place like? See my video that details the initial tour. It's a 2-bedroom and 1-bathroom apartment. Number 3. Who owns the place? Ashbury or Goldmark? Not sure which, it seems to be under both. Number 4. What happened with that Van Raden apartment? We were denied for an unknown reason. I have a feeling it's because of my zero credit history. Number 5. How's that 20 megabits per second upload coming along? Unfortunately, 702 Communications doesn't service this building. In fact, pretty much all of the better ISPs, 702 is at the top, with 3 megabits per second uploads or higher, don't even service this building. Yet, just a half a mile to the west or south, 702 provides service. Mid-Continent Communications was second on the priorities, with Cable One being third. Note that they are ordered based entirely on upload speed availability. Number 6. What ISP do you use then? Currently, it's Evil Cable One. Evil? For starters, they are expensive, they double bill you, they have a low data cap, they lie to you, or at least the sales rep on the phone did. You don't get what they advertise, their TV quality makes JPEG Quality 15 look good, and they give you just 9 days to pay a big bill. Yep, that's only for starters. There's only 2 pluses and a dozen or so more negatives. Why did we go with Cable One? They were the only ones to service this building that provided upload speeds beyond 896 kilobits per second. Uploading a single 2 gigabyte video to YouTube for 7+ hours is ridiculous. Why should I pay for February service when it's not even February yet? The pixelation from compression artifacts is very obvious, unlike DirecTV. Good thing we didn't go with a contract, so service will be terminated on the 22nd. Next up, CenturyLink, the one offering 896 kilobits per second upload. My Minot location was better. If only Google Fiber would ever take off. Stay away from Cable One. They're evil with horrible practices. Back when I was in Minot, these are the speeds I had, and they are maxed out. They are too download heavy. On a good run, this is what I get with Cable One. Way too download heavy, but hey, at least I like that upload, somewhat. If I could have any internet speed that's within reason, this is what I would love to have. Note that upload. Whoa, I can only imagine what that'll be like. Number 7. Why such big video files? Easy. 1080i Full HD video from my camcorder is big. You might think it's my compression settings, but that's not the case. I use X264, the very slow preset, that alone cuts file size by 40%, and Quality 24 for the videos I upload. The audio has 128 kilobits per second CBR MP3, since ABR seems glitched. I archive using Quality 12. 24 cuts the size by about 80%. Pretty big, but the video starts becoming pixelated at that point. Both cases are independent, so that's a net 88% reduction compared to ultra-fast and Quality 12. I know a lot about video compression as I work with video quite often. What I have is about as optimized as I can get, and my i7 2600K CPU at 4 GHz blazes through such video, at 1.7 frames per second. Just for reference, these are X264 settings. Note that I use very slow as the preset, the high profile, quantizer-based rate control, and Quality 24. This is what I use for when I upload a video for YouTube. Number 8. Why don't you get DirecTV, Dish Network, or Netflix for your TV? We tried. Twice. We're on the north-facing side of the building when the dish has to point to the south. There's no way to get Dish Network or DirecTV because of this. We even had a friend referral to get DirecTV cheaper. Even resellers of DirecTV and Dish Network are not an option. This leaves only two options, Netflix or cable TV. I can't use Netflix because, when I'm working on Platform Masters, I won't be able to see anything because my activities will cover it, defeating the purpose of it. The mail route limits you to only 2 or so things a week, not 100 plus. I'd have to, somehow, route Netflix to my TV in order for Netflix to work, though. But how to send video data from the internet over to my TV, I have no idea. Cable, thus, is the only option. Trouble is, there is only one cable provider that services this building, Evil Cable One. Without TV, I get bored with Platform Masters far more quickly, drastically slowing progress. It seems odd, but watching TV really does speed me up, triple even. It's mostly from sustainability. I can keep at Platform Masters much longer. While the station is being spammed, as I call advertising, I mute the ads, then get at Platform Masters. When my show is back on, I unmute and watch the show. I work on Platform Masters during dull moments, repeats, or when something of marginal interest is the only thing on. For reference, when I'm working on Platform Masters, this would be what my typical workspace might look like. This is GIMP's main window. GIMP's layers, channels, undo, history, etc. The main image window. The bigger this is, the more effective I am. And when certain tasks require in-depth planning, I often have Microsoft Excel in the background as a reference. Because GIMP isn't entirely stable, thanks to that infinite loop bug that I've known for years, I often have Windows Task Manager in the background to closely monitor it. As you can tell, there is virtually no space left at all for Netflix video. Number 9. Why wasn't any of this looked into when you looked for a replacement? My sister did the searching and needed to rush for job-related reasons. She saw cable ready, so she, and I, thought that it meant it had cables hooked up and ready to go for internet. We didn't know that it meant cable TV. We just had the misfortune of being on the north side of the building, preventing us from getting DirecTV. DirecTV has practically everything I'm interested in with the Choice Extra package. Dish Network requires the top package for what I regularly watch. Number 10. What was your first pizza delivery like? Yep, first thing when I began living here, I ordered a pizza and got it delivered. It was with Pizza Hut. I had 3 more pizza deliveries done as well. The second was unexpected. Domino's did their order wrong. The second time I've ever had that happening with all the pizza places I've been to. Pizza Hut had the first case. The third case was Sarpino's. The fourth was Godfather's. Up next, Extreme Pizza Kitchen, if they deliver. Each time I kept alert as to the knock on the door. Upon asking who it was, I gave them the cash, I answered the door, plus around 10 to 25% in tips, depending on speed and quality of service. The faster and better the quality, the bigger the tip. From there, I closed the door and began degreasing it, as usual. Number 11. What are your neighbors like? I can definitely say the one directly upstairs has heavy footsteps as they're quite loud when they walk. It's generally not much of an issue, though, especially past midnight. I otherwise don't really know any of the neighbors. Number 12. How's the job search going? I've lost a great deal of motivation for attempting. Initially. Then I thought of something that gave me new hope. Not 1 in 500 or 1 in 2,000 like it was a bit earlier, or 1 in 1,000,000 in Minot, but 1 in 100. Instead of trying to find a business that works with my sleep-wake cycle, I thought of seeing if I can restrict it to a set time span. During my off days, I could just adjust by jumping my sleep-wake cycle. Jumping? That requires staying awake for 20 plus hours, 24 plus for best results for large jumps, to cause the time I wake up to shift forward many hours at once, instead of the usual 80 minutes. If I can't adjust in time, staying awake for 27 plus hours might be the only option. Number 13. Why don't you just keep to a 24-hour cycle? I've tried. It's unsuccessful. If I go to bed too early, I'm laying in bed for 3+ hours unable to get to sleep, and when I do sleep, I sleep very poorly and often very little. With inadequate sleep, your performance drops. Big time. Why else would a math whiz get C's in math or F's in reading comprehension? Nice grades for school, isn't it? If you can't perform, you might as well get fired. I tried to keep to a 24-hour cycle for my recent Amtrak trip, thinking it might be easier over just a week. I was after just attempting to hold it back for just 5 hours. What a nightmare that was! So far, that was the worst time I've ever had in Fargo. At first, it wasn't bad, but as I continued, I was no longer getting my 8 to 9 hours of sleep, just 5 to 6, once getting just 4 hours. After 2 days, I began spending 2 to 4 hours in bed before I finally went to sleep, despite having only gotten 5 hours the time before. I was so drowsy and unproductive that I almost couldn't function, especially bad a week into it. I perform much better after having been awake for 30 hours with 8 to 9 hours of sleep beforehand than I do maintaining a 24-hour cycle for 1 week. It's not excitement, as my first vacation in 8.1 years, back in 2008, had no troubles leading up to it. I've had this since 3rd grade, but didn't know about it until 10th grade, and I didn't know its quirks until about 2006. I've got records in my log, my main site, since June of 2006. Right now, I shift forward about 80 minutes every day. And I'm recording this at about 3:10 a.m., starting since 2:30 a.m., normally a time when most are asleep, but I'm quite active, as you can probably tell in my voice. If you notice the times I'm streaming and times I'm on my forums closely, you can see this shifting. It may take a few days to notice, though. Number 14. Do you have any friends yet? No. I'm still just about as alien here as I was in Minot, only slightly more alien. Number 15. Aside from the TV and internet issues, how do you like the place? The rooms themselves are nice and cozy. The thermostat is buggy, though. Despite being set to 60.2 degrees Fahrenheit, my room is a cozy 77 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 25 Celsius. We've also had a dog waste scare as well, as one of the neighbors is not picking up after their dog. So, my sister and I have turned detective to figure out who the perpetrator is. An unexpected detective story. Number 16. Have you had a chance to walk to the grocery store and get groceries on your own? Due to my habit of keeping a strong stock on things I regularly go through, I haven't had a need to yet. Their prices, Hornbacher's that is, are 10 to 20% higher than Walmart, so I prefer to avoid them unless it's an emergency need for something. Number 17. What chores do you find yourself plagued with? It's about 80% as bad as my Minot place. I still have to deal with trash, though, on occasion. There's also the 6 cans a day I have to crush. But the supposed quiet time from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. prevents me from doing it, as crushing cans is very noisy, peaking at 80 decibels. Number 18. Do you find yourself arguing with your sister? So far, no. Aside from the recent shock of the Cable One bill and trying to figure out why it was so high, nothing has happened. Number 19. Have you been keeping in touch with your parents? Yes, though the finer details are classified. Number 20. Have you been able to enjoy walking to places yet? What's to enjoy when it's brutally cold outside? January in North Dakota often has days with 20 below wind chills or colder. Who'd want to walk outside in such cold temperatures? I start getting uncomfortable if my room drops below 74 degrees Fahrenheit, already rather high. Walking is more of a summertime thing. The only time I do it is to get to an adjacent building, such as when I finally, if I do, get tired. Number 21. How noisy is your new place? My computer fan at 1 meter distance is much noisier at 13 decibels. With my computer off, it's only about 3 to 5 decibels, almost inaudible. It's about the same as my Minot location, though about 2 decibels fainter for the most part. Number 22. How has the drastic change of scenery affected you? Inside, I haven't really been affected. Decorations don't bother me. I mostly find them a waste of money myself. Outside, it's more alien as there's so many buildings, even some businesses literally across the street or on the same side of the street. Upon leaving the living quarters and heading out, I'm faced with tons of buildings, 10 times more than I'm used to. I've already adapted though, as I get used to things quickly. I've actually already figured out the street and avenue system. Number 23. Do you see any local places of interest? Rock 30 Games is one. They sell old video games, something Minot completely lacks. West Acres Bowling is another, though not as strong. Beyond that, I still don't know much of what's around. Rock 30 Games is just barely in walking distance too, under 1,000 feet away. Number 24. Have you been sleeping any better or worse than before? Disregarding the case with attempting to stick to a 24-hour cycle, I haven't changed. Number 25. Have you thought about visiting some of the things in Fargo that Minot lacks? There are a few things, but with money being very tight, I can't really do much right now. The observatory is one, though. Number 26. Do you foresee any major life-changing events while in Fargo? Aside from attempting for a job, I don't. Things are about the same otherwise, just with a lot more choice and flexibility than before. I still don't know what's all around yet, so I've got a ton of noise. Uncertainty. Another move is likely coming this June, so we can get better internet and get direct TV. I sure hope we can get something that 702 Communications or Mid-Continent Communications serves. Ugh. Number 27. Do you have any major unknowns still left? Fireworks is the biggest one. Getting access to that observatory is another unknown. Number 28. How are Sam's Club and or Costco coming along? Sam's Club is used as it's right next to the frequently used Walmart. It's great for standard issue items like paper towels, electronics, why don't they have BDR discs, envelopes, paper, and the most common of foods like cereal and candy. And boy, does a 4.5-pound bag of hot tamales really take a long time to go through. I frequently get combos. I even once got orange juice that didn't require refrigeration. Number 29. Have you had a chance to use public transportation yet? At the moment, I haven't needed it. Unlike the Van Rayden place, I'm quite far from a bus stop, so I'm less tempted to attempt it until this coming summer. Number 30. Where do you plan on moving to when June comes? It'll have to be with Goldmark. But the place that will be looked into will need to have 702 Communications service it and allow us that so badly wished for 20 megabits per second upload. Or Mid-Continent for their 2.0 plan, 10 megabits per second upload, if 702 serves none of Goldmark's buildings. It must also be on the south-facing side of the building. East or west should also work, though more uncertain, so we can get direct TV. Being about as cheap as what I have now would be a plus, perhaps a building that isn't so run down or old. My sister wants a high-rise, but for that to work, there must be an elevator, as fighting stairs is already problematic as it is, especially with furniture. Number 31. What are some things you'd like to do in Fargo, if you had the money? Using the observatory to see Jupiter and other celestial objects is one thing, highest on my list. A close second is going into a small plane and flying a mile above the ground to get an idea on how things look, going around in a giant circle, like that airplane flight video from July 2011, that is. Number 32. I'll be passing by where I live in Fargo. Could I meet you? This has a big fat question mark on it. And so that concludes this video. Yes, by the way, it's almost 3:30 a.m.